आपकी शक्ल को क्या हुआ?
नहीं ढूंढ ली।
We are discussing Sister Midnight. I loved this film. It was total punk rock comedy horror. And I wonder, Karan, if you could share with me your pitch, whatever that was for the film, and what were the reactions to the idea? Because I like to think of you pitching it and people going, hell yes, we are in.
To be absolutely honest, I still don't even know how to pitch this film. And I don't know how I managed to get it set up. And it took 10 years to make, mainly because I think it freaked a lot of people out because it doesn't fit into any boxes, much like Radhika's character. So I know how I explain it. Explain it in hindsight a bit better now, which is that it's about a small town misfit who becomes an accidental outlaw. But that is not how I pitched it, and I can't remember what gibberish I must have used back then. But it was difficult to get people to bite
But that
at
is
first.
that's the perfect summary. But yeah, I can imagine, like, because I was trying to think how would I describe it, but there you go. But Radhika, Uma is quite a radical character. She is not an archetypal Indian woman that we are used to seeing on screen in any way. Her swearing is jaw-dropping and delightful. Tell me about meeting her on page for the first time. How did you react? Did you have any reservations, or were you hell yes, Simon as well?
Well, I was hell yes. Definitely. I was like, I read it and I was like, I really want to do it. And it was funny because later when Karan and I actually finished the film and we were doing some publicity, and he was like, oh my God, I was thinking if Radhika says no, then what am I going to do? And I remember thinking like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't meet anybody else. And what if he doesn't cast me? So, so it was, I really, really wanted to do the film. And you rightly said, I mean, it's a very, very radical character on screen, and you don't see such Indian women on screen. But the truth is, you have Indian women like that all the time in India,
Mhm.
swearing and like beating their husbands up, also like very different. But I'm just saying that, they beat the shit out of you. They're so fucking badass. And so it's actually that part of it was very refreshing, obviously, to be put on screen. But what was very new for me about Uma was just like it was really innocent. The film's very innocent, and I very rarely read a script where you feel like, oh, it's pure. And I do think that, I mean, it's crazy. The film it's crazy in every possible way, but every aspect of it is relatable. You understand because you've been there. And how can such a crazy twist and turn, I mean, the twists and turns that are crazy can be so relatable, but they are, and that's the beauty of it. Because you're not really, it's not really about that. It's about Uma learning to find out who she is and accepting who she is. Really, it's about that. And even the husband, I mean, what a beautiful man.
Oh,
And, and he also finds himself in the film in a way,
it
and they
is.
find each
It's
and it's a quite a nice romantic film in a way.
100%. And Karen,
First time I've heard it described like that, but true. It's got a bittersweet poetry in what happens with that
Yeah,
romance.
yeah, yeah.
yes, I mean, I'd never even thought of describing it as romantic, but it is. It really is in a kind of
It
like,
is in a way romantic because they
Yeah.
find each other, right? I mean,
Hmm.
and then she, whatever she does is she takes it off from what happens with him and her,
Yep.
you know.
ये तो पढ़ हम कैसे जुड़ गए? उसको हर लड़की ने रिश्ता मना किया।
क्या मेरे से आ रही है?
बहुत। और वो तो वैसे ही पागल है।
ये चक्कर समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, खाना नहीं है।
Karen, I really enjoyed your extremely efficient storytelling as well, and your very minimal use of words, and like the opening scene on the train just conveyed so much in such a very specific time. So I wonder if you could tell me about how you ponder and create this visually sort of epic moments and about your minimal use of words in general.
Oh, thank you so much. It's funny you mentioned that train because to me exactly was I think even Rad's on the page, it sort of was, deliberately constructed to set up and get as much information without any dialogue as possible visually through what was going on. And I remember we were trying to do it. Certain people in production thought it was an unnecessary scene. I was like, it's extremely important. Just from the way she turns, parts the flowers on her face, and looks at the city for the first time, instantly you know this person is a fish out of water and is coming from somewhere else. And also the difference in the body language between the two of them on the seat. She's, erect and uncomfortable like an ornament. She's been, made to look like. And he is how do we describe him? A little more louche, let's say, and unaware. But yeah, to me, look, film is an audiovisual medium, and I think my goal really is to do everything with as little dialogue as possible. Film, I think, in this country has such a relationship to the fact that there's a history of theater. So dialogue is usually at the forefront of the narratives. Isn't the case for me. And I still find wonder and inspiration in early silent cinema. It's almost like sound came too early for my liking. God knows where the art form could have gone if we'd stuck to it. But yeah, it is just that. It's like we have a grammar in cinema that belongs only to cinema. And so my aim is to use that, whether it's through the sound design, how we build frames, and the main thing for me, which is body language, because I'm interested in behavioral performances. And what Radhika does in the film is express and communicate maybe pages of information through most subtlest, muscle movements. And to me, that is cinema. That's not theater.
100%. And Radhika, how was that for you? Was that a very exciting part of the whole appeal of Uma? Was that there was so little to say, but everything to convey?
I mean, that's the most fascinating thing. Can you imagine? It's a treat. I mean, most of the time I'm fighting for the opposite. Like, most of the times I'm in ADR and I'm trying to say, do I have to make that noise? Is it not obvious? Like, do I have to say this in the background? Is it not obvious? Like, literally, I'm always saying that why are you, anyway, it was on the nose, the film, and now you're making me dub for additional lines when the camera's on the other person's face to make it even more obvious. So what's wrong with you? And what's the use of me? And so this was amazing. And I think that it was quite cool that Karan actually decided to, like, no, just stood by his vision and actually managed to do this, because right now I'm very new. I'm trying to write, and I struggle because if I write something where I say this,
Wait,
this,
you're not
this,
trying to write, you are a writer.
I'm writing, okay, whatever.
Don't sell
But
yourself short.
but if I write that some certain things are conveyed in action and not in words, it's a massive battle because people go like, oh, but is it going to be conveyed? How is it going to be conveyed? I'm like, what are the faces for?
Mm.
And what is the body for? And so as an actor, I've very rarely gotten the opportunity to do this. And my God, I'd love to be doing that all the time. I'd love to not say anything.
बहुत थक गई मेरे को नहीं चाहिए मजा
बगावत अंदर से आनी चाहिए जैसे जुराब की दराज में से सांप
Because there's so much in this film that is unexpected, unexpected, unexpected all the way through. And I loved it when you're just starting to learn how Gopal and Uma are relating to each other. And when he flies through the door, absolutely drunk, and your face. So much of the film is you looking at your face and just going, oh my God. And every woman in the world knows what you're feeling. Thinking. Tell me about the relationship between you and Ashok. Is it Ashok Patak?
Yes.
Well? Yeah. The two of you, the dynamic between you.
He was Gopal.
He was petrified of her. Sweet man.
Love it.
He was petrified of her.
It was such a lovely chemistry you had. One of the most enjoyable parts of the film was seeing you both grow together.
I'm going to let Karan speak.
Yeah, tell me about the dynamic between them. Were you just delighted that you'd managed to cast them both?
One thing I think uh I was being Uma on set sometimes.
It was. I mean, there's a scene, I love telling this story. There's a scene, not to give too much away, but they sort of face each other, and it's going to be a very intimate moment, and she needs him to sort of perform in a certain way before she does
Oh,
this very
yeah, right.
mysterious act. And he needs to put his palms on her thighs, and they're both naked. He would not put his hands on her thighs, and in some time during like between a take, she was just like, "What the beer?" She grabbed his hands and just like slammed them onto her thighs. And I think he was just glued there out of fear. But
Yeah, it was
that, that's really interesting, because part of making a film, apart from dealing with the psychology of the characters, you're also managing the psychology of the team sometimes, and the performers
yeah,
and stuff. And each
yeah.
person's different, and you have to adjust, find ways to talk to them. So he was very, very sweet and
And shy.
and shy, but there was also this sort of quiet, mysterious masculinity to him, which is why I was
Mm.
drawn to him. And he's vulnerable because we met certain men who were like, it just was off, and it was quite hilarious doing some auditions, and I would ask them like questions about so let's say Uma does something rebellious. It's like, if this was your wife, how would you respond? I was like, I would say, get her to come home and cook me the meal and do all this. I was like, okay, fuck, you're out of here. Next guy. And he had something you couldn't put your finger on, which is what Radhika has as well. From the first moment I saw the stuff. And a lot of making art is intuition, and also reacting to art is to tapping into those silent things you can't quite put your finger on, where the magic sort of dwells. And I think there was such an amazing combination, and also between them both doing these physical performances, they complement each other so well.
And the physical performance alongside the sound design, which was like the character in itself. I really enjoyed that, like the flip-flops, slap, 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 slap. The comedy of that, but also you having to respond to it, Radhika.
Somebody realized the flip-flops, to me, they're more important than the dialogue. And I think I drove the sound team nuts. We did that scene maybe 15 times till the flip-flops were right, including me following with flip-flops and things. Anyway, sorry, go back to what you were saying.
No, but I'm so pleased that because it was just something that just a music to my ear was just enjoying that slap, 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 and the comedy and the anger conveyed in it. It's just wonderful. So yeah, Radhika, tell me about acting alongside that sound design, if you know what I mean.
Before she jumps in, I should say we talked about those footsteps a lot for that scene, because that was really the only character direction in the ones when she's walking towards camera. We talked about how pulling all the emotion was in her feet and the performance there. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. We did. I think what I mean, sound design, I think sound is so crucial, right? Because when you're performing, you're taking off the energy of the other people, but I mean, you're also taking off the silence and the sounds around you. And so that's why I think there's something, I mean, the film it's twisty, and there's this chaos of Bombay, but there's something very, very calm about the film. And I think the calmness comes from the fact that you can hear sounds. And it's not just, I mean, it has an absolutely incredible soundtrack, I think. But also there are moments where you just actually hear what they are hearing, and the sounds are crucial.
तो ठीक है तू दूसरे इंसानों जैसे इंसान क्यों नहीं हो सकती
I'm a big believer trying to do everything as physically as possible on set, and even our moons were fake. There were bits of styrofoam and things like that. With the animation, which harkens back to Harryhausen, like you're saying, I don't think you can fake light hitting feathers, skin, and fur. And we needed those specific animals that show up at a specific point in the film to just be a little bit askew and a little bit eccentric, but without ever trying to push it. And naturally, stop motion has that without you having to like force weirdness. It's just inherent in its identity, and it's very funny.
It's very funny. And yeah, Radhika, how was it for you acting alongside these mythical beasts?
The mythical beats were basically not there. It was only Karan making the sound of the mythical beasts. So I had to imagine them and take Karan's verbal cues.
Oh, so
Um,
when you saw them on
and
screen eventually, were you delighted with how it all looked in the
yeah,
end?
of course it was really funny. It was very, very funny. And yeah, it was funny because like there's a scene where I can't talk about it, but there are scenes where I'm really interacting,
Yes.
with these beings, and whatever I had in mind, it was better on screen.
So
I
just to
have to
finish,
say
oh, sorry,
the
go
way
on.
she interacts with them is seamless.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. It was a really, really wonderful performance, Radhika. And just to
And
finish
also,
up,
as her
yeah,
performance sort of goes on in the film, she starts to move a bit like stop motion as well.
yes.
Like,
That's
her
true.
body language sort of starts mirroring that as the film goes on.
That's true.
And just to finish up, Karen, you made a lovely quote in your director's statement about Iggy Pop, well, from Iggy Pop, to seize the world and shake it upside down, and every stinking bum should wear a crown. I wonder how this sums up the film for you both.
I mean, I felt like a misfit my whole life. Like, I'm no matter, and I've moved around a lot, and I felt like an outsider, and I always gravitate towards finding the other weird person or misfit in the room. And to me, Iggy Pop was king of the misfits, and I hope this film has a similar effect on people. This way an Iggy Pop song made me feel less strange and less alone.
Wonderful. And what about you, Radhika? What do you hope people will get
I
from the
don't.
film?
Yeah, I can't trump that. So I'm just gonna.
Oh no.
I think, but I think this film actually it can offer something to anyone who watches it, and there's something in it for everybody in the sense that it has, yeah, literally really, really varied interpretations to take home, and I think probably everybody will watch it will feel special. That's what I think the film does. So yeah, I hope that they do.
Thank you both so much. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you, and congratulations on the film.
जानवर है तो
जो मैं बोलने वाली हूँ थोड़ा पागल लगेगा, लेकिन तेरा विश्वास चाहिए। आप दुखी हो?
भगवान ने थोपड़ा ही ऐसा बनाया।
Thank you for watching Picture House Cinema's unique video content. Hit the subscribe button to be kept up to date with our movie news, cast and crew interviews, highlights, trailers, and lots more.